Good morning, good afternoon. You know the name, Cecil Young, coming to you live and in color from Soundview Media here in Stratford, Connecticut. Now, you know I've been talking about what they've done to me in terms of my civil rights being violated by city and state officials. It's been going on some 3 years that I've been on the radio and on TV exposing these issues pertaining to these officials. And I'm saying to you again today, as what I've been saying back then, I'm still saying today, as I said some 17 years ago, that the city and state officials conspired to violate my civil rights by taking away my medical benefits, knowing good and well that terminated employees have a right to continue their medical benefits as long as they file a grievance within a timely fashion, which I did do so. On March 16, 2006, okay, the 17th or the 18th, the 19th, I filed a complaint pertaining to my medical benefits being denied from me from city officials. And it's a shame and a disgrace that before I went before the Labor Board Commissioners, okay, two of them agreed with the city, okay, that the city was justified when denying me my medical benefits, which was an outright lie and a shame and a disgrace. Albert Murphy, Gerald Weiner conspired and committed fraud. They committed fraud. And you say, how did they commit fraud? They committed fraud by actually having hearings pertaining to if whether or not the city was justifiable in denying me my medical benefits. Now, any employee who works for the city and the union have a right to continue their benefits as long as they file a grievance, which I did do so. And it troubled me that they themselves knew good and well, especially Mike Cohad, and along with Gerald Weiner. Remember, both of these persons were on the board of directors for the Labor Board for 20 years or more. Both of them, Gerald Weiner and Mike Cohad, been on this board for 20 years or more. They know the procedures, sleeping, walking, all the above as well. And for them to turn around here and act like they don't know what was going on, and they know good and well that terminated employees have a right to continue their benefits. They denied me mine, and they allowed this to drag on for almost 2 years. Unbeknown to me, they dragged it on, okay, ignoring the fact that they knew good and well my benefits should have been honored, but they did not honor that. And I'm going to show you that in a few minutes or so, pertaining to my assistant, who will highlight all of the above as to why come the Labor Board Commission that I went before, along with my wife at that time, Patricia Young. And because we went before the Labor Board Commissioners, I ended up winning this award myself, okay, along with my wife at the time, but because we produced evidence showing that the city was lying on me, pertaining to me, whether or not I was terminated or did I voluntarily resign. I was terminated, and I did not voluntarily resign. What troubled me is that Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohad got paid, what, Gerald Weiner made $850, Mike Cohad made $575, and this was pertaining to my medical benefit, whether or not I had the right to have that. They knew good and well. They know the procedures. They know that terminated employees have a right to continue their benefits as long as they file a grievance, which I did do so. Okay, if I voluntarily resigned, there's no way in the world I would have been able to continue my medical benefits. There wouldn't have been no way in the world that they would have been able to provide my medical benefits if I voluntarily resigned. They knew that. They knew it. Why? Because I told them that. They knew it as well because I'm sure Albert Murphy, who ruled against me, okay, by saying that I showed up at the health department with literally straps of paper to justify my action, my being out of work. Now, we all know good and well that that was not the case, that I did show up at work, okay? But yet and still, okay, they gave the impression that because I had not returned to work as of March 20th, okay, 2006, my position with the city is hereby classified as unauthorized. My position with the city is hereby terminated. They terminated me. It says termination. Now, Gerald Weiner got the same letter. Mike Cohad got the same letter that I was terminated. Now, they know good and well terminated employees have a right to continue their medical benefits if they were terminated, as long as they file a grievance. On record, there is a grievance showing that I filed for medical benefits, but yet until they denied it. They denied it and would add insult to injury is that here is the time card showing that on this date, March 16, 2006, I came to work. They have evidence showing that I came to work. I indicate that I will be going for a colon exam on the 17th, okay? They likewise confirmed that fact. They okayed it. Here is Dr. Evans, the supervisor, my supervisor, who confirmed the fact that Cecil will be leaving at 10:30 around that time because I planned on getting married with my lady at the time, okay, Patricia Nichols at the time. And we got married on that day, March 16, 2006. I got married on that day because I knew that she needed insurance because she had become very sickly because of the amount of smoking that she was doing and the amount of stress that was put on her. And she was worn out to a point where she really could not move around too much. She really couldn't even breathe that much as she could have used to. And it really troubled me that the city of Bridgeport know good and well that 20 years ago, 19 years ago, I should have never been terminated. My benefits should have never been stopped. But because she stuck with me and fought by me and with me, okay, she got herself stressed out to a point where she ended up passing away. Okay, she had a massive heart attack all at the same time because of the stress that was put on her over the years and years and years of me fighting with these people for what? An unjust termination, denying us my medical benefits, my family, my medical benefits. Shame on them. Here is also the colon exam information that I gave them, confirming the fact that I'll be going for a colon exam on this day, March 17th, that following day. They confirmed that. I gave it to them. They have that. Shame on them to do that to me and think they can get away with it. The day show I'm going to, again, like I said before, you can download the Cecil Young Show on YouTube 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. All of this information I'm giving you has been documented, has been recorded, and you can download it anytime, 7 days a week, to confirm the fact that whether or not Cecil Young is lying or perpetrating a fraud. I am not perpetrating a fraud. I am here with facts, evidence in black and white, audio tapes of Dr. Evans' voice, audio tape of Jody Paul's voice, audio tape of Gerald Wayner's voice, audio tape of Mike Cohad's voice, confirming the fact that they knew good and well that I was unjustly terminated, but yet and still, because they was able to get away with this fraud act that they was able to perpetrate, they got paid and then we got played. And I said to Governor Lamont back then, you need to look into these allegations because, again, you may not be aware of what they're doing, but they committed fraud. If you have someone investigate these allegations, you will find that they committed fraud, and that needs to be dealt with. I want these folks to pay back what they conspired and took away from the city and the taxpayers of the city of Bridgeport, the state of Connecticut. I want the governor to fully investigate these allegations, okay? When I filed a complaint with the Human Rights Commission about these matters, okay, they made it look like, oh, there was nothing but no big deal. There is a big deal with all the above information. And I'm saying to those of them that are running against the governor, for governor, you need to ask the governor, why has he not investigated these allegations? If they're investigating other allegations of other officials, in terms of their acts, in terms of unethical taxes that they use to derive funds from the taxpayers, they need to be investigated as well. Okay, here is a good example. How long has this been going on? Gerald Wayner, chairman of the Labor Board for 20 years, Mike Cohen for almost 20 years. How dare they make this kind of money by committing fraud? They committed fraud. I said to you back then, and I say to the public now, Gerald Wayner, Mike Cohen, Jody Paul, if anything I said here I can't back up, sue me. Sue me. I'd rather you sue me and lose me, take everything that I've ever earned out of my life, okay? Destroy me completely. Don't just do what you did to me and think you're gonna walk away with that. And I'm saying to the city of Bridgeport and to the residents of Bridgeport, now I'm gonna have my assistant reflect on exactly the ruling on my behalf that me and my wife won. Not because of my union, not because of no lawyer. I took it on myself to go forward because I see that they were setting me up and they was conspiring to not give me the justice I deserve. So now what I'm gonna do is have my assistant reflect on exactly the documents that led to me winning this award by myself. Go ahead,
Yes.
assistant.
This documentation and transmittal memorandum is from Connecticut State Board of Mediation and Arbitration Labor Department, located at 38 Wolcott Hill Road in Weathersfield, Connecticut. Wednesday, May 28, 2008. So this is the transmittal memorandum, Bridgeport City of, and NAGE, local R1-200, and case number 2006-A-0822, Young Cecil, number 06-029. And there's a list of parties that this documentation was distributed to, including Cecil Young, grievant, Jody L. Paul, Labor Relation Officer, Lawrence E. Osborne, Jr., Labor Relation Director, Michael J. Brady, Esquire, Town Clerk, File, Gerald T. Wayner, Esquire, Michael C. Cohan, and Jairo Esposito, Jr. Going on to the next page, going down.
Down.
Yes. So there's a ruling that happened on award date May 28th, 2008, case number 2006-A-0822. So it's the matter of Cecil Young, the grievance, and NAGE, and the city of Bridgeport. So it gives a list of hearing dates as well: August 28, 2007, October 22nd, 2007, December 12, 2007. The appearances: Jody L. Paul, Labor Relation Officer, and Cecil Young. The issue was Cecil Young's medical benefits unjustly terminated, and did the city violate Article 19, Section 19.1 and 19.2 of the NAGE Collective Bargaining Agreement? Question mark. If so, what shall the remedy be? Question mark. Page 1. Facts. Cecil Young, grievant, was employed by the City of Bridgeport for 27 years and most recently as a security guard at the City Health Department. Grievant signed a waiver not to have NAGE/IBPO union representation in this grievance and appeared before the panel without counsel or union representative. At issue in this grievance is whether grievant is entitled to a continuation of health benefits under Section 19.5 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, which provides health benefits under Section 19.1 and insurance under Section 19.2 shall continue to be provided for suspended employees throughout the period of suspension. Such health benefits and insurance shall continue to be provided for terminated employees who have filed a timely grievance of such termination under this agreement until a final decision on such grievance in arbitration or 6 months from the date of termination, whichever is sooner. Grievant left the employ of the city on March 20th, 2006, and the Section 19.5 6-month period expired on September 20th, 2006. The grievant was sent a letter dated March 10th, 2006, which is Exhibit 3, the city Exhibit 3, March 10th letter, which state, thank you, in accordance with the city's attendance policy, upon an unauthorized absence of 3 or more consecutive days, the employee will be deemed to have resigned from employment. You must return to work immediately, or you would be deemed to have voluntarily resigned your position as security guard with the City of Bridgeport. Grievant was terminated by the city due to his alleged failure to comply with the city's attendance policy, whereby he was absent for more than 3 consecutive days without authority and was deemed by the city to have resigned from employment. In a separate grievance alleged that he was not terminated for just cause. Case number 2006-A-0794, and disputed whether he was absent without authority for 3 or more consecutive days. Page 2. In that matter, the grievance filed by grievant was denied by the State Board of Mediation and Arbitration Panel, the SBMA, and grievance termination was upheld. The instant grievance focuses on whether grievant, notwithstanding the termination by the city, is entitled to dental coverage for himself and his dependents pursuant to Section 19.5 of the CBA and the period between March 20th, 2006 through September 20th, 2006. City's position. The city argues that grievant was not terminated but voluntarily resigned from employment in accordance with the terms and condition of the city attendance policy. The city attendance policy was violated by grievant in that he missed more than 3 consecutive unauthorized days off from work. The city asserts that Grievant was warned on more than one occasion that he was in violation of the city's attendance policy, and if he did not return to work, he would be deemed to have voluntarily resigned. The city points to its letter of March 10, 2006, in which it advised Grievant that the city's policy of any unauthorized absence of 3 or more consecutive days will result in Grievance being deemed to have resigned from employment. Again, of the Exhibit 3. The city also argues that the city letter to the grievance dated March 20th, Exhibit 2, supports this position and the fact that the letter contains language that grievance employment is hereby terminated. Simply means his employment came to an end by his own actions and he voluntarily resigned rather than being terminated by the city. The city argues that Section 19.5 only applies to suspended or terminated employees, and since Grievant voluntarily resigned by violating the city attendance policy, Grievance would not receive a 6-month extension of his health benefits. We're on 3. The grievance position. Grievance argues that he was wrongfully terminated from his employment by the city on March 20th, 2006, and therefore the city should have adhered to Article 19.5 of the CBA and provide health coverage, specifically dental benefits under the city's group dental plan, for 6 months subsequent to termination. Grievant argues that the city has not provided credible evidence that he voluntarily resigned as opposed to being terminated. Grievant alleged that he returned to work out of fear of losing his job and medical benefits. Grievant alleged he was forced to pay for prescriptions and lost much needed dental benefits as a result of the city's actions. Grievant argues that he and his dependent did not receive proper dental treatment, including x-rays, filling, etc. Discussion. A prior SBMA decision dealt with whether the city had just cause to terminate Grievant so that the issue shall not be considered nor affect this grievance. Grievance termination was upheld by the SBMA panel. The sole issue presented to this panel by the parties is whether Grievant was improperly denied dental benefits pursuant to Section 19.5 of the CBA. The issue in the termination grievance, case number 2006-A-0794, was whether Grievant was terminated for just cause. The arbitrator in that matter denied the grievance, which in effect upheld the city's actions, and Grievant employment with the city ended March 20th, 2006. Moreover, the city in fact wrote to Grievant on March 20th, 2006, and said, "Your employment with the city is hereby terminated." The city's argument that Grievant voluntarily resigned his position due to repeated violation to the attendance policy does not relieve the city of its obligation under 19.5 of the contract. The effect of the city's action is that the Grievance employment with the city came to an end. While the panel recognized that the city is not obliged for extended health benefits in a traditional voluntary resignation, and employees such as leaving city employment for a new job, retirement, etc. The unique and limited facts of this case require grievant to be covered under the city's health benefit for a period of 6 months from termination. For example, March 20th, 2006 to September 20th, 2006. Grievant strongly contests the city's determination that he voluntarily resigned, and in fact, a prior grievance decision upheld the city's position that grievant was terminated for just cause. The panel recognized the city's position, which essentially put the blame on grievant for willfully violating the city attendance policy. However, grievant did not intend to voluntarily resign his position. The effect of grievance conduct, for example, violating the attendance policy, led to his termination, and the city's termination was upheld by a separate SBMA arbitration award. Whether grievance conduct violating the city attendance policy was voluntary or involuntary shall not result in grievance losing the 6 months extended medical coverage. Accordingly, after review of the evidence and by a preponderance of the evidence, the panel concludes that the city violated Section 19.5 of the CBA by not providing dental benefits to grievant for 6 months from the date of termination. This decision is only limited to the dental coverage grievance claim that have been covered by the CBA for the 6-month period between March 20th, 2006 through September 20th, 2006.
All right, now we got. No. On the top. You're back.
Okay.
All right.
All right. This is a decision. The grievance is sustained, and the panel's award is as follows. 1, the city shall activate coverage or pay for a grievant and his dependents incurred dental bills during the period between March 20th, 2006 and September 20th, 2006, the relevant period. Number 2, all dental bills actually incurred by a grievant and his dependent during the relevant period, March 20th, 2006 through September 20th, 2006, shall be paid by this city or its insurer as if the city continued grievance Cigna dental plan for the 6-month period. Number 3, the city shall also pay or authorize its insurer to cover grievant and his dependent's dental work, which would have been covered if the Cigna dental plan was kept in effect for the relevant period, March 20th, 2006 through September 20th, 2006, so long as grievant dentist verifies in writing that the dental condition existed during the relevant period and said conditions could have been corrected if grievant was financially able to pay for the dental work. For example, dental insurance coverage was in effect for the relevant period, March 20th, 2006 through September 20th, 2006. Number 4 and final, the city's obligation to provide payment for the aforementioned dental bills is limited to the city's portion of any claim that would have been paid if grievance were kept on the city's dental plan. Grievance shall be responsible to pay any out-of-pocket portion of a claim he would have been responsible for under the Cigna dental plan, including any employee deductible expense. And sign off by Gerald T. Weiner, neutral arbitrator, Jairo Esposito Jr., union arbitrator, Michael Cohen, management arbitrator.
Why don't you get this letter out here, that one? Now, you know what's so sad about this is that, you just see Gerald Wayne and Mike Coad involved in this here cover-up, and to have their name on this matter in 2008, knowing good and well here it is 2017, 2018, 2020, all the above, they knew good and well, okay, they violated my civil rights by doing what they did to me, okay? And to have this board member, and as you notice, you said 2 different boards I went before. The first board was Mike Coad and Gerald Weiner, all right? I mean, they were the ones who denied it. That's why I went before this other board in Weathersfield, which finally decided in my favor. And what troubled me that I'm gonna play a recorder of Dr. Evans, Jody Paul, Mike Coad, Gerald Weiner, all the above, acting like they didn't know what was going on. And that's what's so sad about this. And that's why I say to you, okay, to turn around here for Gerald Weiner and Albert Murphy to say that I had, literally straps of paper. I tried to justify my actions. What do you say that again?
Okay. Hold on 1 second.
In this case, the city was confronted with.
Oh, okay. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th paragraph in. In this case, the city was faced with a situation where an employee had been out of work for several weeks and attempted to justify his absence with what were literally scraps of paper. 2 of them were signed by a nurse. The one which was signed allegedly by a doctor did not contain any description of the grievance ailment or diagnoses of any kind.
All right, what's so sad about this is that now you hear him say that I come showing up with literally straps of paper. I thought I never came to work. According to Jody Paul, according to Mike Coad, according to Gerald Weiner, I never came to work. Yet and still he's saying, Albert Murphy saying that I can literally showing up with literally straps of paper. What was it? Why are they lying? They're lying because they all conspired to make money off of the taxpayers of the state of Connecticut and the city of Bridgeport by actually giving the impression that I voluntarily resigned. As I said before, voluntary employees do not have a right to continue their medical benefits. Gerald Weiner knew that. He's been on the board for 20 years. Mike Coad knew that. He's been on the board 20 years. Yet and still, you see Mike Coad got, 525 to justify what Albert Murphy did to terminate me was justifiable? Now, Murphy, Mike Coad, you agreed with that. You said it was justifiable. You agreed. You said, well, Murphy said, well, you agreed with Murphy. Now you got Mike Coad down here making $575, okay, by going along with Gerald Weiner by giving the impression that I voluntarily resigned, which allowed Gerald Weiner and Mike Coad to have several meetings, so-called pertaining to if whether or not the city was justifiable, okay, and terminating me and my medical benefits were justifiable and being denied. Voluntary employees do not continue medical benefits if they voluntarily resign. You heard the labor board commissioners rule in my favor. They acknowledged the fact that I came to work. They acknowledged the fact that I had a right to continue these medical benefits. And they ordered them to honor my medical benefits. And that's what's so sad about this, okay, to have the Assistant Attorney General Mitchell to draw up his findings, okay, to show, okay, that they basically violated the public trust by doing what they did to me is a shame and a disgrace. And that's why I said, for them to draw up this complaint against me on behalf of me, or in 2009, all right, they referred this, okay, to the state auditors, and the state auditors gave their findings back in 2010, showing, okay, that whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me, whether or not did Albert Murphy or Gerald Weiner commit fraud, Mike Coad, did they commit fraud? That was the issue. If they committed fraud, am I filing an unnecessary complaint? I'm sure that Assistant Attorney General Mitchell would not have drawn up the complaint that caused this state auditors to make their findings. And what troubled me, they said back then, you cannot disclose matters that are being investigated, why they're being investigated. I understand that. Well, the question is, okay, that in 2008, the city agreed, okay, to pay for my benefits in 2008, that they denied me in 2008, which I didn't find out until 2025, okay, when I filed a Freedom of Information complaint, okay? Now, it was unbeknown to me that in 2008 that they referred and gave me a copy of this information showing me that my benefits were honored. I didn't realize that at the time. My wife was handling all the paperwork. I'm not familiar with all those kind of documents. I don't deal with all these documents. She dealt with all that. But because of her sickness, maybe she got the notice and didn't realize that we got the notice that that they honored the benefits on my behalf. I didn't know that, but the state ordered to get their findings. The state order said, okay, Cecil Young had a right to continue his medical benefits, okay? What, did they say that? What did they say? Did they say that Albert Murphy and Mike Cohan had a right to continue to have 3 and 4 hearings pertaining to if whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me and denying me my medical benefits? What did the state order to say? And what troubled me is that Senator Blumenthal, shame on you, okay? For you to allow your Assistant Attorney General Mitchell to draw up such a complaint to cause the auditors to make their findings as to what were their findings, we don't know. And if the case has been over, if it's been solved in 2008, the question is why come in 2026, I still can't get no information pertaining to what these state auditors found. Did they find that they violated the public trust? Did they find that they violated and committed fraud, Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohen? What did these 2 auditors say in their report that they gave back to the Attorney General's office? And I said, Attorney General Blumenthal, you knew about this, Attorney General Blumenthal. You knew about it in 2006, 2007, because I told you about it then. And you allowed your Assistant Attorney General Mitchell to draw up a complaint that came so beautiful, so powerful, that caused them to respond to it. And that's why I said, come on, let's not treat me the way you're treating me. I won the award. I won the award myself. Why? Without a union, without a lawyer. Why? How could I win this award? When here it is, Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohen are the same 2 people that denied me my benefits for years and years and act like they didn't know what was going on. Why? Because they committed fraud. How can I get this matter investigated? I have a right to have my due process. And then for me to hire this no good attorney, John Williams, okay, who I gave $10,000 to represent me, he never showed up in court. And if he would have showed up in court, you would have seen here that the city was violating my civil rights. And to have the city to try to get me to sign off on these benefits in order for me to get my benefits, huh? Jody Paul, termination me, Mark Anastasia, Mayor John Pabrisi, they wanted me to sign off on these benefits and not take any action against them for what they did to me. Shame on them. Twice they tried to get me to sign off on it with a union person going along with them. I would not sign nothing. Why should I have to sign an agreement with these people who are committing fraud and violating my civil rights? I would not do such a thing, okay? And add insult to injury, they have Janet Finch, Labor Relations Department, to turn around and to deny me my medical benefits relief from being able to come out of work, to be out of work. For what? Extreme anxiety and all the above that I've been dealing with? And you say that my Dr. Walters note that he pertained to me saying that I had a right to be out. You're saying that it was not justifiable what he was treating me for? Shame on you. Okay, and that's why I said now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up some exhibits and I'm going to also play the audio tapes of Dr. Evans, Jody Paul, all the above being fully aware of what I've been saying that they did to me, which is they violated my civil rights. And I'm going to play the audio tape now. You got your mic turned up, brother?
You have a backup.
Yeah, I know, but either one of them ain't working. Sorry about, oh my God, that time my tape got all caught up in the damn thing. Well, anyway, I'm sorry about that again, but again, you see the story. You see that Jody Paul knew good and well that I came to work. She said that I came to work and I left an hour and a half later. Yet and still they gave the impression, okay, that I never came to work, all right, in terms of denying me my medical benefits. And again, like I said before, you can download the Cecil Young Show Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week, and you'll be able to hear exactly all of what parts they all played in denying me my medical benefits. And that's why I'm saying to the state of Connecticut, if they can investigate the election matters in Bridgeport, and then they can hire a private attorney to investigate to see if whether or not their civil rights were violated. The question is, why won't they do the same for me, okay? I asked for a medical leave request to be out of work under a doctor's care. They denied me that. Why? Why would they deny me a chance to be out of work? Jody Paul, Dr. Evans, who gave the impression that it was all right for me to come to work, all right? All right, because I feared that I would lose my benefits if I came to work against my doctor's will. That shouldn't.
Work sick. Huh? Came to work
I came to work sick against my doctor's will. I came to work sick because I didn't want to lose my benefits. Yet and still, I came to work, and they terminated me. See, this y'all American, they terminated me for not coming to work. Terminated me for not coming to work. How can I get the Connecticut Post? How can I get someone to cover these people that are doing what they did to me and getting away with it? I put an ad in the Connecticut Post newspaper, all right, on the 6/14/26, okay, to try to highlight the fact that I wanted people to know in Bridgeport that what they did to me, they could do to you. It should have never happened. And I'm saying to the Connecticut Post, Bridgeport Post, please cover the story. Ask Brian Luckhart would he cover the story and expose this injustice, expose this corruption that has been allowed to go on against me. And like I said before, I don't know what it is, Brian, in terms of why he ignoring me and ignoring these issues, or why the Connecticut Post would ignore these issues. I say to the Connecticut Post, I paid $500 and something to put this ad in the Connecticut Post. I never paid that kind of money to put nothing in no newspaper, but I put it in the newspaper because I wanted the people of Bridgeport and Connecticut to know how corrupt our city has gotten to a point where they allow these kind of injustices to go on and they get away with it. And even though on my tape recorder today you cannot hear what I wanted you to hear, but download the Cecil Young Show. You will hear it on other shows that I did in the past. I've been doing these shows for the last 3 years. I paid for these shows for the last 3 years out of my own pocket, to get the taxpayers to know that what they did to me was wrong. And I'm saying that as an American, as a public servant, as someone who's been out there in the eye of the storm helping all kinds of people, black, white, Puerto Rican, Jew, what have you, I've always been spoke what's on my mind. And I'm saying to the taxpayers of the city of Bridgeport, please help me get the exposure I need to show what they did to me was wrong. They did to me was wrong. You know it. Come on, Jody Paul. How dare you sit there and give the impression that I was justifiably terminated when you know good and well that you knew I came to work, and you knew and you confirmed the fact that I'll be leaving in a half an hour later, and you confirmed the fact that I should have been there for 4 hours. But I told you that I was getting married that day, and I got married on that day, March 16, 2006. A hell of a marriage gift certificate, huh? A hell of a marriage acknowledgement from the city of Bridgeport. Come on. Come on. Why do you treat me like you treat me? For what? Dr. Evans gave me permission to come to work. You will hear it on different shows. If you download the Cecil Young Show on YouTube, Monday through Sunday, you have an hour, a show of daytime, nighttime, 24 hours a day, standing, walking, riding, whatever you want to call it. You can download the show and get this information that will back up everything I said here in black and white. No one is above the law. And these people think they are. Why? Because we have a Connecticut Post paper that have not acknowledged the fact that it's not about me, it's about we. Come on, Brian Luckhart. Come on, Connecticut Post. Let's expose these corrupt officials being allowed to get away with what they're getting away with. I deserve better than this, and you know that. And that's why I plead with you. You read the story, download the Cecil Young Show, and let the taxpayers of the city of Bridgeport know what's going on. And I say thank God for Frank Riccio from News 12, who had agreed to come on my show. I'm going to have him come on my show to say, Frank Riccio, you deserve an award of the year for all you do for Bridgeporters and around the state of Connecticut. Frank Riccio deserved that. He's always been a reporter that's been fair and impartial to all people of all colors, system-wise and those non-system-wise. He's always been able to come out there to highlight the issues that affect our people in our communities 7 days a week. And I say to the Connecticut Post, Bridgeport Post, you can get more people that would subscribe with your paper if you start relating to our issues in our neighborhoods other than about the shootings, other than about the killings. Talk about Father Panic and the new Father Panic and how beautiful those homes look. Talk about the Marina Village and how beautiful those homes look. Talk about green homes and what they plan on doing down the road for green homes. Come on, Connecticut Post. Talk about people like you and me that's been out there trying to make sure that we get the justice we've been deserved and that we've been denied. And that's why I'm saying to you, please help me, help you, help yourself. It ain't about me, it's about we. So I say again to you, download the Cecil Young Show. Tell the governor, Lamont, that you want them to investigate these allegations of our rights being violated. And I asked for Senator Gaston to respond to these matters. I can't seem to get him to respond to me at all. And I say, why? I don't know that man. He don't know me. We never had no real problem that he would not want to respond to me. And I say, shame on this senator that sit here in position of authority in my district and not to want to respond to me. Come on, Senator Gaston. I am a constituent. I am a voter. I am someone that's been out there in the eye of the storm for 60 years or more. Check my resume, check my profile, download the Cecil Young Show and see what he's done over these 60 years. Not because he had to, because he wanted to. Why? Because God allowed him the vision and the power to do what he's been able to do. So come on, Senator Gaston. Come on, Councilman Newton. Come on, Nina. Please help me push the mayor to respond to these issues. Joe Ganim, you know me, huh? You know about me. Why won't you be able to expose what's going on in terms of what my case pertaining to the city? You had nothing to do with me being terminated, but you have something to do with me with the termination being covered up when you involved your Janet Hawk, Janine Hawkins.
Janine
Hawkins, when you allowed your labor relations director, Janine Hawkins, just to say to tell Councilman Newton that the city was justifiable in terminating me, when you got audio tapes and sound voices of Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohen confirming the fact that I was unjustly terminated. You got all that. Download the Cecil Young Show. Please do that for me and do it for yourself. And when you see the governor or when you see the senator, ask them why have they not responded to his brother's cry. Somebody please help my cry. Respond to me. Don't give me no favor. Don't do nothing for me that I don't deserve, but expose the injustice so that I will be motivated enough to want to continue voting. Right now, I don't want to vote for nobody. I mean nobody. Right now, my only agenda is to vote for, if I do vote, will be Andre Baker, because he did try to get the Human Rights Commission looking at my stuff, and Councilman Newton and Councilman Anita Martinez. But after that, I'm finished. I'm finished, and I'm saying I don't want to be finished, because we need people now more than we ever before to be organized, to be motivated, to be stimulated. Because believe me, when Donald Trump gets through tap dancing, you're going to have to worry about, you should have been ready, because you heard the storm was coming, and it's coming. Not by wind, but by sin. And if you commit sin, he will drag you in and going to break your back and going to tear you up in a way where you never recover from what you're going through right now. So please help me, help you, help yourself, so we can help our people begin to get what they deserve to have. Because believe me, changes are coming whether you want to or not. And we're going to have to get involved. We're going to have to get motivated. And that's why when I seen our citizens committee meeting and how we were able to gather folks together and talk about issues, it's shame on our people, because we begin to talk about how we can help one another. Instead of doing that, we begin to turn on one another and drop off on one another. Because of what? They got in bed with the Pharaoh. Got in bed with the Pharaoh and forgot about the real community heroes that had no problem standing up for those that need to be stood up for. And that's why I say again, thank you for listening to the Cecil Young Show. And again, tune in Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. And I plead with you that if you do that and speak about it, I'm sure that the justice that I've been denied will begin to come forward like running water out of a faucet. Please, today, tomorrow could be you. Help me, help you, help yourself. Thank you much for listening to the Cecil Young Show. And then again, don't forget, Monday through Sunday, download me on Soundview Media or YouTube all day long. 1 hour show of power for you to know. Thank you much, and have a good day.
I'll see you tomorrow.